Welcome aboard Tristan and Tommy's Runaway Railway. For your safety, please remain seated and enjoy the show. Welcome to Please Remain Seated, a theme park podcast hosted by two theme park enthusiasts that work for the industry in Orlando, Florida. In this show, we discuss a variety of news, reviews, various theme park topics, and more. This week, we did have a little bit of a slow news week, so we're just going to be talking about an update to Top Thrill Dragster, as well as how the hurricane has affected the parks here in Florida, as we know, and all the park closures that came with it. For this week's review, I'm going to be talking about Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Orlando this year. I'm going to be ranking my houses, as I've gotten to do all of them. And maybe even mention what was it? Nightmare Fuel. But anyway, because of our slow news day, we're gonna do our own blue sky concepts for Dinoland, and also we got a nice tristery from Tristan. Tristan, how you
That's
doing?
me. I'm good.
Yep.
I'm good.
I'm Tommy.
You're Tommy. I'm Tristan. We are.
Yeah.
Please remain seated.
Yeah, you're eating M&Ms.
I was. I'm gonna. I'll be polite and I'll be done now. But
No, you won't. Keep
I
munching.
also. Huh? What?
Keep munching.
Keep munching. I can.
Yeah.
These are a month old. I got them at the LA airport a month ago.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah. I also want to mention here that this episode coming out October 1st, 2022. Yeah, happy birthday, Magic Kingdom and Epcot. But happy birthday, Please Remain Seated podcast, 1 year old.
Oh my gosh, I just realized the birthday is tomorrow.
Yep.
Like, I just realized Epcot's 40th is tomorrow. Like, I keep thinking and knowing, like, and talking about, oh yeah, it's coming up. That's tomorrow. My gosh.
Yeah.
They got some nice looking merch coming out too. Like, I really try not to like care too much about merch that much, but honestly, the merch looks really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, happy birthday to all of those things, but most importantly, us.
Yes.
Okay, so let's hop on into the news here, Tommy. What's up first?
All right, let's talk about an update to Top Thrill Dragster. We've been covering this ride for over a year now since the incident in August. The last update was that they're going to be reimagining this ride in some way, or that Top Thrill Dragster is being retired in its current form. Very recently, construction walls have surrounded the ride, and all of the track that isn't a part of the top hat has been removed. So it's kind of crazy how they're like getting quick work done right now. I feel like the popular rumor is that they're replacing the hydraulic launch with an LSM launch, and that would require a different track. But they also got rid of all the track on the brake run as well. So who knows if they're like kind of constructing some sort of new launch system with the top hat or what? Tristan, do you have any thoughts on Top Thrill Dragster?
No.
No. All right, yeah. Cool. Anyways, so that's an update on Top Thrill Dragster. The next and final news, we're just going to talk about Hurricane Ian a little bit. Of course, that just swept through Florida, battered the West Coast, and even damaged some parts of Central Florida, and some of it, even some of the parks. I think Universal got hit the hardest from what we've seen. I also got an insider photo of the parking lot at SeaWorld Orlando. Not allowed to share it, but their parking lot looked like a lake, basically. It was insane to see. But I did see a Reddit post today. Somebody went to SeaWorld and they said that everything was fine. I mean, some pathways were flooded, but all the rides were working good, which I'm really happy about because somebody told me that Mako and Icebreaker got hurt a little bit, but I guess that's not true. Thank God. Tristan, what else happened?
Well, some rain came down from the sky. It was a little windy. I
That's what
stayed in my
hurricanes do.
apartment, played some Monopoly.
Yeah.
Ate junk food for about 48 hours straight.
Cool.
Oh, you mean about the parks?
Yes, about the parks, because this is a theme park podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
You don't you don't know.
But I know that Universal, a photo did come out of one of the Jurassic Park rides.
Yeah, River Adventure.
Yeah, River Adventure, and there's a giant hole in the side of it now, which is really great.
Yeah, so that ride's gonna be down for a little bit.
Yes, it will.
when they try to fix that.
And then I saw a nice photo of the Hulk coaster. Um,
Yes.
that bottom part of it just complete like the whole thing's like
Hulk
the
splash.
Hulk splash. The whole if that ride was to be on right
Yeah.
now, that you'd be 100% underwater going on that.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
like curious what would happen if you were on a train that went through that. Would the train get stuck or would it be able to push through the water? And
in Roller Coaster Tycoon, if you don't have enough momentum going into that water splash, it'll stop your train.
yeah, I imagine it would probably stop the train and then you drown and die.
Yeah. Also
Oh,
like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
yeah, that'd be
Lots of
fun.
death.
But I just realized we started getting into this and we didn't even mention that all the parks closed on Wednesday and Thursday of this week, and today they've all kind of started doing phased reopenings. Disney World, of course, had kind of interesting hours. I don't have them off the top of my head, but like I remember, I think Animal Kingdoms was the one that stood out to me the most because they opened for resort guests from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and at 1 p.m. day guests were allowed to come in that weren't staying
Wow.
on property, and they only had 6 hours in the park. Um, and also at Animal Kingdom, apparently, Kali River Rapids and Kilimanjaro Safari were not open today at all.
Hmm.
So that I would imagine maybe Kali River Rapids still has some water that they probably have a lot of debris in their waters that still needs to be taken care of. And Safari covers a huge amount of land, so maybe getting the debris and then also dealing with the animals there that could be an issue. Maybe there's some trees falling there. We are not sure. This is just all speculation, but what we do know is that it was down today, and who knows if it'll be up tomorrow when this is uploaded.
I cannot imagine spending however much money on a 1 day ticket today to go to
Yeah,
Animal Kingdom for 6 hours and have two of the major rides be closed.
yeah, and apparently Everest was down a lot of the day as well,
Oh,
most of the day. So you had Dinoland and Pandora holding down the fort, as well as Festival of the Lion King and Nemo. Today was supposed to be Kite Tail's last day, but with the hurricane stuff, it unceremoniously officially ended on the 27th.
wow. And they didn't even know.
Yep. Nope. It was just like that.
Wow. And I bet there are dozens of people who are upset about it.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Um, well, I'm looking up right now Disney World 1 day ticket price because I want to see this.
Yeah,
I don't know if they just have an answer somewhere. I probably have to build a whole vacation on their website before I can see
probably.
what it costs. But while I do this, Tommy, talk about something else.
Talk about something else. One thing that we haven't heard about is Busch Gardens Tampa, which I am very nervous to hear about. I am very much hoping Iron Gwazi is still standing. Um, Fort Myers, St. Petersburg got a little battered. I know Tampa definitely got some damage. Haven't seen any pictures or videos of Tampa though, and it's been real quiet on the Busch Gardens front. Like I spend way too much time on roller coaster pages and forums, and the Hulk picture came out, day of. Oh, actually, speaking of Universal, Halloween Horror Nights did officially come back tonight. Wednesday and Thursday, it obviously got canceled. But tonight it opened back for guests that already had a ticket for tonight. And then tomorrow it is opening back up officially and you can order new tickets. Disney World actually had a similar thing where either Tuesday night or Wednesday they stopped allowing people to make new reservations for today or Friday, the day that we're recording this, the day that they did their phased reopening. Um, you cannot make a reservation for today if you didn't already have it.
Mm, okay. I did some
Yes.
math here.
Yep.
Um, today, a 1 day park ticket was $144. Okay.
Yep.
I divided that by six, the six
Hmm.
hours that the park was open for regular day guests. And they were spending $24 an hour
Yeah.
to be there. Make sure I did that math correctly. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's say a family, right? Let's do a family of four.
Hmm.
You have two kids that obviously aren't paying for themselves. We do that times four. Those people are paying $96 an hour to be at Animal
Wow.
Kingdom, where they can't ride two or three of the major rides.
Wow.
I hope
And
some refunds were given out.
I really hope so too, because I'm just thinking how a universal preferred pass um for Florida residents is only like $400 for islands and Universal, and you can get a lot more out of that.
Yeah,
A lot more than 6 hours out of that.
that's brutal.
Yeah,
Wow. I'm still wrapping my head around that.
yeah. So
Even the theme park, or even the resort guests who got to go in however many
yeah,
hours earlier, 2 hours earlier,
yeah. The resort guests at each park got 2 hours.
still not worth it. Not for Animal Kingdom.
Yeah,
What time's Animal Kingdom close? I don't remember.
Animal Kingdom closed at 7 o'clock today,
7 o'clock. So 11 to
and
7, 8 hours.
the Magic Kingdom was like, I forgot what time they opened, but I know that they closed at 6 o'clock today, so they closed pretty early.
Yeah, they closed for a Halloween party, which still went on.
Oh right, oh wait, Halloween party. I
Yeah.
forgot about that. My
But-
bad.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Hmm.
perhaps we had any other updates regarding that. I think that's it. Universal got screwed up. SeaWorld got a little bit flooded. Praying that Brian Guazi's open. Disney World seems to be coming back swinging. So, good job to all the cast members, all the theme park employees that are working through this, especially the ones that had to work at the resorts
Mhm.
during the 2 days that were closed. Because I can only imagine it's like, I do feel bad for, people who, had to plan their trips out a month in advance. They, probably saved a bunch of money for this type of thing, only for it to get derailed by a hurricane at the last second.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me to have as much sympathy for them, knowing that, like, people's lives have been destroyed by this storm, like especially like in Fort Myers.
Yeah, but theme park guests don't care.
Yeah, they really don't. It's like you go on Twitter and like seeing people like complaining about how Disney, is messing up their vacation, and hearing about guests screaming at theme park employees that they're going to sue Universal and Disney, like, over what?
Yeah.
You're going to try to put a lawsuit under people's whose houses are still flooded right now, like, you know. Like, because you and I, we both got really lucky. Our apartments were pretty safe. We didn't even lose power, but people I know had flooding, and like other people in Central Florida still had to deal with flooding. So it's, I don't have any sympathy for the people that get to go home and still have a house.
One of our good mutual friends, Mr. Brian, who's also a podcaster with his New York Mets Scooter and the Big Man podcast.
Oh yeah, Scooter and the Big Man.
He lost power for 15 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
It's
watching Netflix the whole time.
Yeah. It's like, I think my bathroom light flickered once. That was about it.
Yeah. But all right, well, that's pretty much our news. I mean, it's pretty much been a slow news week. I guess this hurricane really gave us most of our content.
Yeah. It's
but
like
that
mine.
segues into something pretty interesting here. Well, what is it, Tommy?
Yeah. So last week was our big D23 episode, and one of the final segments was a Blue Sky segment, and where they were talking about potential reimaginings for Dinoland USA and Animal Kingdom. Big Animal Kingdom episode today. And they talked about a potential Moana and Zootopia land or something. And I feel like before Moana and Zootopia, I feel like people like came up with ideas for what Dinoland could potentially be replaced with. And we have some ideas that we want to share today. Tristan, do you have any that you want to throw out there?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. I was gonna see if my dog would hop up and I would make it a beagle land. Olaf. No, he doesn't want to. He's stupid. No. If I was to, let's just throw a theoretical here, and a hurricane comes through and wipes down Dinoland.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. Oh, okay. Never mind. I would turn it into Tristan and Tommy's podcast land. Build a big theater. Actually, we'll just include whatever the Nemo theater is, and then all of Dinoland will be the queue for all of the people who want to line up to watch us record our podcast live.
That is a very, very good idea.
Yeah. What about you?
What about me? So I think some of the ideas that I have had were some things that people have thought about before, but I also kind of want to think of it in a couple different levels as well. Because Oh, two things I want to consider, or maybe more than two. I don't know. So Animal Kingdom doesn't have a lot of rides for people without for it only has three rides that don't have a height requirement, including T-Spin, which is in Dinoland. So whatever land goes there, I want there to be at least two rides that don't have a height requirement because the only other ones are Safari and Navi River Journey. Um, I was also thinking about the Nemo Theater because you have Asia, the Nemo Theater, then Dinoland. It's just kind of there. Um, so two potential lands that could tie in would be Australia and then some sort of ocean themed land. That would be kind of cool. With Australia, you'd have a whole other continent similar to how you have in Asia and in Africa. And then, of course, Animal Kingdom already has kangaroos, so you could throw kangaroos in there. Potentially have a kangaroo hopper ride. Maybe you hop into the pouch of a kangaroo and start hopping around places, do some sort of out Australian outback type of ride, or maybe do the entire Sydney city. Maybe have a little people mover, something like that. Um, do something about the spooky animals of Australia. Um, for the ocean land, I think you can still include the Moana log flume attraction. I mean, in the blue sky artwork, you kind of saw a Moana log flume type of ride. I think Moana works a lot better than Zootopia. Kind of mentioning on last week's podcast, Joe Rohde, the Imagineer behind Animal Kingdom, does not think Zootopia belongs in Animal Kingdom, as some people do. So I'm not going with Zootopia, but Moana does have a connection with nature, and I could see her more than Zootopia. So, I'll include a Moana log flume ride. And then maybe if they want to get rid of Dinoland completely, including dinosaur, we still want to have in animals of the past, we can do extinct ocean creatures. So we could do extinct ocean creatures. But then if we also want to do something scary, here's an idea that I had. Because we had a scary dinosaur ride. What if we had a scary deep ocean ride? And we can bring back Dr. Seeker because of sending people back in time to the Cretaceous period, to the late Cretaceous period. He got fired from there, and now he's working at this new deep ocean thing where he's also trying to kill us. So these are some ideas that I've had. Also South America, that was a popular rumor a few years back. Do a little Amazon River ride, some rainforest, and yeah, those are some of my ideas.
Your underwater scary animal ride.
Yes.
That triggered a great idea. Okay, so we
Okay.
just talked about how kite tails died early, and now there's a big lake there, right? That has nothing going on in it.
Ooh.
Okay, so we bring back 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Put in an underwater submarine type of ride where you do exactly that. Takes you back in time, and you see underwater ancient, giant squids and stuff. Boom.
That would be very cool.
Pay me
Now,
the Imagineer money.
only issue is then we would lose our character flotillas because they come out from there.
Who?
Like they have character boats that go around. They start like in that lagoon and then go around the river around Animal Kingdom, and those are fun.
Okay.
You don't care about them. Okay.
No.
I care about them. So you keep it. Shut up, Tristan.
Okay.
You wanted the dumb podcast land. So
It's a good idea.
yeah. It definitely has a bigger conservation message than Zootopia, that's for sure.
Podcasting's a pretty green activity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not using it. I just plug my
No,
stop
no,
using
no,
electricity, I guess.
no carbon emissions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do fart a lot when I record podcasts. Maybe that has something to do with
I
some
don't know
sort
if
of pollution.
yeah, that is definitely pollution.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, do we have any other news or discussions, Tommy?
I don't know. I think that's all the blue sky concepts we have. If you guys have any good ideas for Dinoland, please let us know in any comment section or whatever, and we will share it on the next show. Next segment, I was going to be discussing Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Orlando Resort. This is the first year. Burped. I just burped. Awesome. um,
Yeah.
where I got a frequent fear pass. Now, I've been in Orlando since 2018. I only went to Horror Nights once that year and only did one house, which was Stranger Things. The next year, I only went one time, did a few houses. Didn't go to the ones in 2020, and then last year I went again and only got to do one house, but that was for other reasons. Um, and I really enjoy the vibe of Horror Nights. So this year I wanted to go all out. I got myself a frequent fear pass, and I have since been at least once a week, and I have done every house, and I'm going to rank them. Honorable type of shout out. I want to give a shout out to the show Nightmare Fuel. It is very awesome. It's a very not safe for work type of show. The outfits are a little I mean the whole event is actually 18 plus, I think. I mean, I think you can like come or like bring kids and teenagers if you want, but pretty spooky, gruesome event. But anyways, I'm gonna be ranking the houses. Um, Now I should say I don't really hate any of the houses. Even the ones that are closer to the bottom. They're just the ones I like the least. Number 10, Fiesta de Chupacabras. A Latin American village little theme, has some weird chupacabra creature. It had the least interesting story to me, but you know, the village looked pretty cool. Number 9, Descendants of Destruction. Now, I haven't been to this since like the first week of Horror Nights, so my memory's a little bit foggy of it, but it also wasn't that memorable to me, but it had some pretty cool set pieces. Maybe I'll come back and it'll go a couple spots higher. Um, because my 9 and 8 spots I feel like were somewhat interchangeable. Number 8 for me being Spirits of the Coven. Now that's kind of a witch type themed house. It did have some pretty cool set pieces and story, and you know, there's nothing more Halloween than witches. Am I right, Tristan? You like a nice witch?
What about worms?
Worms. Ooh, speaking
Worms.
of worms, number 7, bugs eaten alive. Um, very I'm not a but he didn't even know that was gonna be the next house
I
either.
I didn't.
Yeah, you did not. You know, as somebody that hates bugs, some of the house was a little unnerving. And that's kind of nice. You know, you want to get a little bit creeped out, a little weirded out, but it's kind of a cool story going into that. My number 6 house, I think this house is very underrated. Hell Block Horror, themed to a prison. Very, very cool set pieces, had some good scares. Now I think it was scarier because the one time I went, so pretty much every night I've gone, I have gone with a big group of people. But the night that I finally did that house, I went with just my girlfriend. And I think when it was just us two, we got more scares. Because when you got a big group, the scares are more spread out through the group. But just us two were bigger targets. I've also had to learn to try not to keep up with the group in front of me too much, or else like I see where the scares are coming. And like I kind of did that my first night where I was like kind of paying too much attention to where the scares were, but now I like don't do that, and it's more fun that way. Now for the top 5. Before I get to these, Tristan, have you gone to Horror Nights or do you plan on going?
I don't think I'm going to go this year, just money wise. I don't think I can
Money
afford to
wise?
go. I would love to go.
Yeah.
But I'm also not as big in a haunted house type things because I was kind of in a haunted house. I was actually a haunted trail, like an outdoor haunted trail for 6 years back home. So like, I don't know. I'm just not really into
Okay.
being on the other side of that.
Okay, that's valid. It's a yeah, it's definitely a certain vibe at Horror Nights that's really fun. And honestly, these top 5 for me are like kind of interchangeable. Like it was kind of hard to rank these. They were all really good. Number 5, Halloween, you know, based on the very legendary horror movie series. Very cool house, seeing Michael Myers in there. All the jump scares were wonderful. Number 4, I got Universal Monsters Legends Collide. Really, really cool house. Very good scares. The scares were definitely a lot better in this one when it was just me and my girlfriend. Like there was one point where like 2 of the creatures like jumped out right in front of me and got in my face. It was a great house. Number 3, this has been probably the biggest sleeper hit of Halloween Horror Nights this year. Dead Man's Pier Winter's Wake. This has easily been the most popular house that wasn't one of the 4 headlining house. Like, you know, there were 6 like original story houses, and this has been a lot of people's favorites. The set pieces are so cool, and like it really kind of transports you to a whole other world. It's really, really awesome house. Number 2, I feel like I haven't seen other people rank this one as high as me, but the Horrors of Blumhouse is easily the scariest house this year. It's divided into actually 2 different houses. One is based on the movie Freaky. The other is Black Phone, so Blumhouse production movies. I actually only just saw Freaky during the hurricane quarantine. Um, and I plan on seeing Black Phone next week, so I'm excited to go into that house after seeing those movies. Um, but funny enough, one of the times I was in that house, there's this group of like 17 to 20-year-old boys that were like screaming and falling all over each other, terrified. It made it much more entertaining. I think if you have a really scared group in front of you, it makes it so much fun. And I actually have a friend, I wasn't with them, but apparently they left that house and they were crying a little bit. So if you want the scariest house, Horrors of Blumhouse, I think has been consistently the most traumatic. And then, of course, the number one house for me this year, some people might not have it this high, but it is the headlining one, The Weekend After Hours Nightmare. This house is so much fun. It is so cool. It is such a different vibe. I think I don't think this is the type of house anyone was expecting to be announced. Like, and I think this probably had the most interest because it's like, how are they going to do a weekend house? And it was just so fun, a very spooky, creepy. Like, it actually had some pretty decent jump scares. Like, and like, it's definitely not like the house you go to just for scares, but like, it did a good job when it was just me and my girlfriend, and like, just the theming and just vibing to weekend music in the queue in the house. So much fun. Uh, I am very much enjoying myself this year at Halloween Horror Nights. A lot of cool merch, a lot of good food. If you haven't been, I highly recommend it. If you aren't able to do all the houses, hopefully some of the things I've said about these houses help you decide which ones you want to try to do. Um, the night that it was just me and my girlfriend, we got really lucky because we literally only went for the last 2 hours, but did 5 houses.
Oh,
And like the wait times were going down as we went. Like Hellblock Horror, like seems to have the lowest wait time, especially as the night goes on, because it's right at the front of the park near Minions. And it was only like a 15-minute wait. And like Coven was 35, everything else was at least 40 to 90. But after we did Hellblock, Coven was only a 35-minute wait. Then after that, Dead Man's Pier was only a 30-minute wait, but it felt like 20. And then Universal Monsters was only like 15. And then the weekend was what was posting 90 when we got there was only posting 40. We only waited 20 minutes in that line. So if you if you have a frequent fear pass, definitely try to go later. If you don't have frequent fear, you are going to have to try to spend all night there to do as many houses as you can. Um, but yeah, I've enjoyed myself. I love horror nights. I think I'm going to do this every year now. This is my thing.
well, that was a good. I'm glad we did that segment because this is pretty much our Halloween episode. Take
Yeah,
this opportunity now to say I'm going to be taking the whole month of October off because I'm
yeah.
traveling to like a million different places. So happy Halloween, folks.
Happy Halloween.
Well,
And
we only got
sorry, I was going to say if
yeah.
anybody here has been to, if any of our listeners have been to Halloween Horror Nights, let us know what your favorite houses are.
Yes.
Yeah,
All right, got a couple minutes left. We'll do our little theme park history here. This one is appropriate to basically the last 2 days. It is the history of theme park closures. I really only was able to do Central Florida, mostly Disney.
yeah,
Not a lot of coverage about things that aren't Central Florida or Disney parks. It's just everyone always freaks out. Oh, Disney's closing. It must be
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
So we're going to start here in 1971 and we're going to cover 27 years really quickly because nothing happened from
Yeah.
1971 to 1998. But 1999, we had Hurricane Floyd, where everything was closed for a day, but Animal Kingdom and Downtown Disney opened the next day. And we moved to the September 11th attacks. Obviously, that was kind of an interesting
Yeah.
closure where cast members didn't really tell people what was going on. They just kind of formed a human wall and pushed people out.
Yeah.
It was obvious what was going on within a matter of hours, but
Yeah. But
um,
like, yeah, back then there was no internet or anything like that, so people couldn't just go on their phones and see what was going on.
mhm.
When the guests were getting kicked out of the park, they were asking what was going on, and cast members would say, "Go check the news."
Yep.
Um, and guests that some guests were didn't really quite weren't taking the hint, yelling at cast members and like just really not getting it. So those guests were taken into a separate room. They turned on the news for those guests,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Yikes on bikes. So
yeah,
the parks closed that morning, but they reopened the next day. Fast forward to 2004. 2004 was a bummer of a year. There were three hurricanes that closed Disney, um, all within 2 months of each other, I believe. We had Hurricane
yeah,
Charlie, which was really only half-day closure, except Animal Kingdom and Busch Gardens never opened that day. Don't know what went into that decision, why like Animal Kingdom
Animals.
didn't open.
Yeah.
Probably because the animals, I guess. I don't know. And then a little bit later, Hurricane Francis, that was a 2-day closure. A little bit later after that, Hurricane Gian, that was a 1-day closure. Like I said, all those 3 hurricanes were all within 2 months. Next year, 2005, we had Hurricane Wilma. I want to say, yeah, this says that the parks were only closed for the morning. Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Downtown Disney reopened at 1 p.m. The rest of everything else opened the next day. Hurricane Matthew in 2016 was 1.5 day closure. Hurricane Irma 2017 was a 2.5 day closure. Dorian was, I think, a 1 day, except Epcot.
I think it was a half day.
Half day, yeah.
Yeah, because
but
like
Epcot never closed.
Yeah, Epcot never closed because all the parks were supposed to close at 3 p.m. and all of them did except for Epcot. I think Epcot, like day of, they decided to stay open till like 7 or something like that. It was really weird.
No why.
Yeah.
So those were up until 2020, all of the closures that were
Yeah.
only 2-3 days max here.
Yeah.
And then COVID-19 hits. Walt Disney World parks were closed for nearly 4 months. Disneyland was closed for over a year. Universal was only closed for about 2.5 months.
Yeah.
To put that kind of into perspective on how that worked. Hurricane Ian obviously just happened. We had a 2-day closure. All of the Florida parks closed for that. So that kind of puts in perspective how rarely things close with the theme parks in Florida. However, it seems to be a lot more frequent lately.
Yeah, it really does. And with this one, I was a little surprised that they went for a full 2 days. I kind of thought it was going to be a Dorian, like at least a little bit of Dorian, where Dorian the parks closed at 3. I thought they might try to do that with the parks this time on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But like I mean, it was still pretty windy and rainy anyway, so it's not like it would have been like a fun day that day. Like I think Tuesday night is when like it started to spit from the sky. Like I remember I had to check my friend's pets that night, and like as I was leaving, that's like when the sky started like spitting a little bit. Like, all right, here it is. Here we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was a little surprised from that. The only other closure I could think of that it wasn't hurricane related, I watched a video about the Smiler the other day, and like I watched it several times, but the video reminded me that. Are you familiar with the Smiler in Alton Towers in the UK?
Yeah, we talked about it a few episodes ago.
Yeah, the world's most inverting roller coaster, but unfortunately, a lot of people know it for a major incident that happened in 2016, where a train full of passengers collided with an empty train in the middle of the track, causing life-changing injuries and amputations. After that incident, the park was closed for 5 days.
Oh wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, like they just closed the park for 5 days to get their life together. And then obviously that ride was closed for a while. But
well, on that happy note, thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're gonna take about a month off here, but when we come back, I will have gone on a Halloween Disney cruise. So
awesome.
Maybe
Ooh,
I'll talk
Halloween.
about that for a few minutes, and we'll get back on. Maybe we'll have some more news by then as well.
Maybe you do a cruise review. Maybe
dude,
switch it up. Yeah.
Maybe I'll do a little cruise review.
Do a Halloween cruise review.
Why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
you all. Talk us out. Well, thank you guys very much for listening to Please Remain Seated. For some reason, I feel like I had another thought that I don't remember.
You don't.
And I'm going to remember it after we record this. I'm not going to be able to share it till November. So you know what? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you guys are enjoying Horror Nights. Hope you go enjoy it. Pull on your yellow straps. Yeah. Okay. Recording